And this week we are in the Alfa Romeo Stelvio
Veloce.
Veloce.
Oh, I always get that wrong. Q4 all-wheel drive. David, this is a particularly gorgeous looking car. Now remember, we had the Giulia a few weeks ago. There's a link to that in the comments below. Basically, a Stelvio is the SUV version of a Giulia. So whatever's in a Giulia is in the Stelvio.
It's got some heritage and some lovely design.
Let's have a look at that now.
Clearly a traditional nose, but it adds a bit of width and strength by this design here. Not like their little sedans, which looked, to my mind, very odd.
Lost. But David, look at that grille. That is just, it looks like the whole front of the car is pleased to see you and eager to get going.
I once raced a Alfa Romeo sports wagon. This is not quite the low sports wagon, station wagon shape. It is a more SUV, yet still elegant. Front wheels, 20 inches. Alan, I think you particularly like
David, I reckon Alfa do the best wheels in the business. They're just panty-wettingly beautiful.
And the mandatory colour to brake calipers as well.
In red, which of course means this goes faster. There are several models of the Stelvio, including the Go Quick Quadrifoglio, which this is not. That's got a bunch of kilowatts. This, David, how many kilowatts has this got?
206, I think, kilowatts and about 400 newton meters. That's pretty good.
That's enough to be going on with, and of course it's going through an 8-speed automatic to all 4 wheels.
And the torque comes in at 2,000, which I think is usable.
Particularly brilliant.
So access, this is a mid-size SUV. Is it good to get into? Looks a little tight, yet headroom's good.
Oh, David, I haven't been tight since I was at school, but that looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, well, this depends on how much wear it gets, I suppose, but headroom here a little bit cramped because we do have this wonderful long sunroof.
But and does that open, David?
Yes, it does.
Wow, that's unlike the Ioniq, that doesn't. And I love the interior. It's all dark and brooding. Look at this. That's just beautiful.
Simple design, not a lot of control, although we do have power points here with obviously map containers and simple stitching, not over the top, but
it's just lovely.
It looks again like a nice suit that's been well tailored.
But the thing is, even the tops of the back doors is nice and soft. There's such attention to detail. This beautiful kind of turned effect on this trim, it's just delicious. Everything about it is beautifully Italian.
And simple flow, and you'll see it in the front as well. I like that.
Of course, this is part of the Stellantis group, which has about 13 brands. Alfa's one that I hope will survive. It's just too beautiful to let pass Alfa and Fiat, though Fiat's gone a little bit by the wayside. Let's have a bit of a look in the front. It was in the Giulia, it was kind of all one piece.
And it also flowed a little bit more on the Giulia, which tended to make it a bit smaller.
But there's still this...
This is a touchscreen, but it also has a mouse type arrangement.
And the DNA switch for drive modes.
Neutral, and
another switch over here. I think this is just beautiful. Pull my 8-speed automatic into drive. It does, as I said, have sports modes, but I'm going to leave it in normal mode until we get to the end of the street. Steering, wow, that's very light.
Very light, yes.
Very light steering. All right, indicators, David, are going to be on the other side. You'll need to remember that.
Won't we all, Alan? Won't we all?
Well, I don't know about you. I certainly don't. And oh, that's just beautiful. I mean, it doesn't rip your face off, which, I don't like cars that rip your face off.
A 2-litre turbocharged engine, it's not going to be as downright performance oriented as some.
That's all right.
The Quadrifoglio. Quadrifoglio.
Yeah.
The Quadrifoglio, of course, has a 2.9-litre V6 and heaps of horsepower, 375, I think.
You can't really feel the outright torque in this like you can in those engines with all of that oomph. But what this gives you is a sense of wafting, even though it is a very comfortable and quite nice looking SUV, albeit a small one. There's plenty of oomph in there.
It's a nice tourer, makes a bit of sound when you need it. You probably need sound as much as you need actually performance.
I think the thing most people miss is they get into a car and they want it to peel your face off every time it makes a takeoff, and that's not what cars are about. Well, not what most cars are about. It's about the experience getting there. It's about that, what, luxury, dare I say.
Yeah, and peeling your face off feels fantastic. It's surprising even initially, but after a while.
Well, you remember that first time in the Tesla. I thought you were going to wet yourself.
It was like a roller coaster. I mean, literally that feeling of, oh my goodness, this is more than I ever expected.
Now, there's a whole bunch of driver aids in this, as per the Giulia. I'll put a link to the Giulia review in the comments below, but essentially, think of this as a Giulia with more space in the back.
Yes.
There you go. You can control the suspension individually here. Don't know why you'd want to do that. Or you can... that'll be why. That'll be why I put it in A instead of D.
It shows a little diagram of the wheels off and all the suspension parts showing. I find that a little depressing in a way. It reminds me of the old cars I had.
Looks like all the wheels have come off.
Yeah.
Now I've got it in the dynamic mode, the suspension has toughened up somewhat. I know I can play with that, and in some of them it shows up on the dashboard where my speedo was. It shows me that the dynamic suspension is set to soft, but I'm going to switch it back now to normal. You can feel a drop in power. You can feel it pull back just a little bit.
Okay.
And now we're set for grand touring mode. David, can you imagine yourself on shore of Lake Como? You probably wouldn't be going this fast, I suspect. There's a lot of traffic. But
I thought that was a reflection on my sedate driving.
That too. It's beautiful on the highway. It's got all of the assistance mode. So I've got my highway assistance set. Now it's set to 80 kilometers an hour, and this car is essentially driving itself. The wheel is
lane
just turning.
Keep assist, sorry.
Lane keep assist, yeah. Lane keep assist, not lane keep assist. It's doing it all itself, though you notice everybody is overtaking us, so I'm not quite sure what that says about my speed.
The speed limit here is 100.
Oh. I'm now set at 100, David. People are no longer overtaking us.
It's a foolproof system.
Just going to cool the car down just quickly. Well, that's one thing I noticed. With it on high, there was a whistle somewhere. How Italian is that?
One of the things you notice is that it begins a red line at 5,500. I almost thought this might be a diesel, but that's not very high. It's not a full red line, it's starting to be a partial red line, and it gets a full red line at 6,000. Not quite what you'd expect from an Italian performance car, but then again it's got enough sound to sound like it's okay anyway.
I think so long as you've got some pork on your fork, do you really care?
This has got a certain modernity about it, that it looks like an elegantly set up dinner table with some stylish, not garish, fashionable accoutrements.
Yeah. Like I said, it's been designed. It's not just plonked. Someone sat in this car and touched surfaces and touched the knobs, and touched the controls to make sure that everything feels as beautiful as it looks. And that's it. That's all for Alfa Stelvio Veloce Q4. Veloce. You say tomato, I say pasta. Now, what are your final thoughts?
It suits its market well in that it's got style. Perhaps it's a little bit still of the traditional SUV, but it is Alfa. It's clearly Alfa, and I think it stands out quite enough.
And aimed at ladies and gentlemen of a certain age who like a touch of class with their sports performance. But it is that time again. If you've liked the film, hit like.
And make a comment.
And above all, over there, to subscribe.